What are the quality assurance measures that you have in place at the department?
Generally, in the whole of the department, undergraduate and postgraduate, there is a clear policy that guides us on quality assurance. There's an office which we as a department report to. And that office put up measures what we as departments must do. But in our department, we have clear structure in place. We have a committee, Quality Assurance and Enhancement Committee. And that particular committee consists of academics as well as an admin who record all meetings. So what we're doing there, from exam papers to tutorial letters to study guides, everything that we do going through quality assurance. Now for this particular program, the M8 and ODL, we are very sure about how our tutorial letters must be designed. We have a particular template designed by the university. So each tutorial letter in this program going to a rigorous quality assuring check, where we are looking from the language editing to what academics are saying in the tutorial letters. And we are proud to say that our tutorial letters is language edited as well as quality assured. Our study guides, whether it's online, and in this case, even the videos or any additional resources that academics put on the MyUNISA platform, that has been quality assured, and we are proud ourselves that everything that we are doing is quality assured. Where there is gaps in the quality assurance process, we as a team and as a line manager, we look into that. We advise the academics, which in the program, to correct that. But we proud ourselves that our study guides, our tutorial letters, and material that we put on our platform is language edits and quality assured, and we will want to give our students only the best. Whether I have access to this program through MyUNISA, I can go on the discussion forum platform. I can see what is happening on that, and I can assure you there is wonderful interactive debate through the two lecturers who's on that platform, and how students discuss it, and how students are critical about particular issues. And how it's been responded by the particular academic. So yes, what we're doing, we proud ourselves that we want to give our students the best, and that is quality assured. And quality assured is the heartbeat of all our programs, what we're going out and what we are doing and giving to our students, we proud ourselves in. And then as a manager, excellent for me, is part of our vocabulary, and quality assurance is part of that.
That is excellent, Prof. Lastly, what is the future of this program? What would you like to see go into the development of this program going forward?
I want to see that any program not become static, but benchmark with other programs in the world, from Open University, from other universities globally, and see how we benchmark ourselves. And then through this particular program, I want to see in future that we deepen ourselves in the research, not only to have the qualification by these particular graduates who completed the program, but to extend that particular research that the academics completed into publications, into scholarly works, and then benchmark it even with other universities who's also on the open and distance learning or distance education level, and then how we can proud ourselves that in the future that we produce the best M18 ODL in South Africa and in Africa, and we can be proud to accept other students from the global village enroll at us. I got many emails from other universities to say, I see UNISA got an M18 ODL. How can we also become part of that? Universities in South Africa have contacted me. But what I want to see is that we put this program after this review to a next level. And the next level is how we will then restructure the content of this particular module and how to advance in deeper, because COVID have teach us many new paradigms and how we can use this period of COVID in this particular program. And I think we're coming at the right time that we want to benchmark this program with other programs which is similar in nature, and then say this is what we're doing the best from this program. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Geertje van der Berg. I'm a professor in the Department of Curriculum and Instructional Studies. And this is a department I've been leading for 6.5 years. And then when my term came to an end, I had more time now to focus on my specialization, which is ODL. And my supervision, my teaching, and my research currently is in ODL. And at the moment, I'm the program coordinator for the MEd in ODL.
Thank you, Prof. Could you please give us some details about the MEd in ODL program? What does it entail and how is it outlined?
Thank you. Okay, the MEd in ODL is an NQF level 9 qualification, and it consists of 180 credits. This assumes 1,800 study hours. Currently, it is a structured master's program. This means that it consists of 4 modules, which are taught modules, and then a research component. The research component consists of a proposal that needs to be approved, and afterwards a mini dissertation that's completed. The program takes between 2 and 3 years to complete, typically. And students start by enrolling for the modules, between 1 and 4 of them. And so the 4 modules, if I can talk a little bit about the 4 modules. The first module is on research and theory in ODL. It mainly contains, it's about ODL research on distance education systems. It deals with theories and frameworks governing teaching and learning in ODL. And lastly, then it talks about the application of the theories in research. The second module is curriculum development in ODL, and it mainly deals with students working with curriculum design and development in specifically an ODL context. The third module is about technology in ODL, and the emphasis of this module is based on the use of information and communication technologies for teaching and learning in an ODL environment. The fourth and the last taught module is about management in ODL. This module is about management and the interplay between policy and practice at different levels. So after the successfully completed, students have successfully completed at least 2 of these modules, they may enroll for the proposal module as well. And then they typically complete a mini dissertation in their field of specialization on one of the ODL topics. What is nice, I think, about the modules is that the modules prepare them for the research component. So it deals with the specific topics, and it exposes them to current topics in ODL and so on. And it gives them the time to reflect on what they would like to work on when they start their own research. And then maybe I can mention that the program has been developed in response to the growing need for academics and trainers and teachers in open distance and e-learning. And I think its openness and flexibility lies in the fact that students can access the materials whenever it suits them on our learning management, and they can work in their own time. So this is more or less the outline of the program.
Thank you, Prof. So once the modules are completed, what is the schedule of activities rather for the research component of the study?
When students have completed the modules, as I said, they enroll for the proposal module. The proposal module is a module where they work with a supervisor and they've got a year to complete a proposal. Once it's satisfactorily completed, it's submitted to our departmental committee of higher degrees, and it gets evaluated and quality assured, and if it's approved, then it goes through to the graduate office, and students get notification that after a year around, then the proposal is approved and they can enroll for the mini dissertation. So based on the proposal they complete, then the mini dissertation, which also takes about a year to complete.
And what are the support measures in place to help the students through their course of study?
Let me start by the modules, the support they get in the modules. We are at the moment, we are 2 lecturers teaching the 4 modules. I've got a co-lecturer, which is Dr. Schmidt. She's teaching one of the modules, and the other 3 they are my responsibility. So we've got different platforms where students get support, and because it's a low student number, it's very easy to have it a fairly frequent and personal kind of support. For every module, for instance, we have got a WhatsApp group, and it might be interesting to know that this is the preferred way of support and communication of students. Once they recently, we had a conversation on this, because it's so immediate and they get almost immediate responses when they've got questions. Also, we have got a team group for every module. So for instance, now before the first submission of the assignment, we have had a Teams meeting on the assignment, where they was allowed to discuss it and related issues, etc. So, and then there's quite a number of announcements, from the lecturer's side, where we put up announcements on the next discussions going on, and about whatever issues are important, reminding them of the assignment submission dates, etc. And then the official email communication and telephone conversation. And I have to say, because we have got 19 enrollments in the program at the moment, because it's so low, it's very easy, and we are available 24/7. If I can say, the other day a student at 10 o'clock dropped me a WhatsApp to say, "Prof, what do I do with this question?" And then it's easy, the following morning I can put on the WhatsApp group, or wherever those questions come, you can give an answer. So this is, the support, I think, is I think students are very happy at the moment with the support we are providing to them.
Prof, you mentioned that you are one of 2 lecturers in the program. If you could please elaborate on your process of supervision. How are you involved with the students? What additional measures do you employ during supervision, and just your experience on being a supervisor with regards to this program specifically?
As a supervisor, I think I'm fairly experienced. I've successfully, 30 students have completed their studies in curriculum and ODL. And currently I'm the supervisor for 8 of these MET and ODL students. And what is nice is that with the modules, we have dealt with certain theories, and I think we all realize that ODL is a very specific field, and you can't just teach in an ODL environment if you don't have the grounding and the theories that underpin these ODL teaching and research, teaching and practice, theory and practice. So it's nice that we deal with those theories in the modules, and we can just elaborate on them and continue with them because they underpin the research that they are involved in. So I think this is an advantage to be involved in the modules and the supervision of students. The supervision is also, as I've said, because we have come through the modules and now we work in a supervision, student supervision kind of relationship. Students are fairly comfortable in communicating and asking if there's any issue that they struggle with. In the beginning of the supervision kind of relationship, we sign an agreement, and students it's a kind of a conversational agreement that we agree on times, that it's reasonable that when they submit chapters or work to me as a supervisor, that I return it to them, give them feedback. And now that we have teams, it's very interesting how we prefer teams. So students will say, can we have a quick Teams meeting on the feedback that you have provided, Prof? And this I really appreciate it. I appreciate, because it's a way of really talking like you and I are now, you know, having this conversation. And students, it's much easier than writing comments, and students understand certain things. So this way of online teaching and learning in an ODL environment is really showing us that it is working, and it's a way that students prefer and feel really comfortable in.
My name is Professor Abraham Mutlabani, and my position at the university is a Professor of Science Education, but I'm responsible for chairing the research ethics in the College of Education.
Thank you, Prof. Could you please take us through the reference to policy on research ethics?
Okay. I'm going to start by saying UNISA has a policy on research ethics. And I'm going to briefly summarize what is contained in the policy in terms of the research ethics at UNISA. UNISA is committed to undertaking and promoting research that aims to benefit the people of South Africa and beyond its borders. UNISA is guided by integrity, accountability, and rigor in research. UNISA is committed to promoting an institutional ethos that is conducive to systematic knowledge development, critical discourse, intellectual curiosity, tolerance, and a diversity of views within a framework of academic freedom. UNISA is committed to maintaining an environment for researchers in which they are autonomous yet ethical in their research practice. UNISA is committed to enabling researchers to maintain ethically responsible research practice. Now, the UNISA policy on research ethics aims to ensure the following. Firstly, an ethical and scientific intellectual culture amongst the university employees and students, and is followed in all research practices. The UNISA policy on research ethics aims to make sure that the rights and interests of human participants, institutions, animals, and the environment are protected. This is particularly important where the information that has been gathered has a potential to invade the privacy and dignity of participants, third parties, where participants and third parties are vulnerable owing to their youth, disability, gender, age, poverty, disease, ignorance, and the powerlessness of some of the participants. All research activities are conducted with scholarly integrity, excellence, social responsibility, and ethical behavior. The ethical and scientific soundness of the research should not be compromised at all when doing research. Thank you, Pierre.
What are the principles of research ethics?
I'm going to talk to the principles of research ethics that includes the following. The first principle that I'm going to talk about is social value and the clinical value of the research that students are doing or supervisors are doing. Now, every research study is designed to answer a specific research question. The answer should be important enough to justify asking people to accept some risk or inconvenience in participating in such a research. In other words, answers to the research question should contribute to the scientific understanding of the health or improve our ways of preventing, treating, or caring for the people with a given disease, or justifying exposing participants to your research. The next principle that I'm going to talk about is the scientific validity of your research. A study should be designed in a way that will get an understandable answer to the important research question that I indicated in the first principle. This includes considering whether the question asked is answerable, whether the research methods are valid and feasible, and whether the study is designed with accepted principles, clear methods, and reliable practices. When we review the applications, it is important that the points that I have indicated are taken into consideration. Invalid research is very much unethical because it is a waste of resources and exposes people to the risk for no particular purpose. The next aspect of the principles of research ethics involves fair selection of participants. The primary basis for recruiting participants should be the scientific goals of the study, not vulnerability, not privilege, and other unrelated factors. Participants who accept the risk of research should be in the position to enjoy its benefits. Specific groups of participants, for example, women or children, should not be excluded from the research opportunities without a good scientific reason or particular susceptibility to the risk. Now, the next principle that I'm going to talk about is the risk-benefit ratio. Now, with this principle, it talks about uncertainty about the degree of risk and benefits associated with the research that is being done. Research risks may be trivial or serious and or long-term. Risk can be physical, risk can be psychosocial, they can be economic, they can be social. Everything should be done to minimize the risk and inconvenience to the research participants. Now, when students do research, they must make sure that the risks are minimized and there should be a risk-benefit ratio. The other part that is very much important when we do the review in line with the principles is what we call the independent review. To minimize potential conflicts of interest and make sure that the study is ethically acceptable before it starts. An independent review panel, which is our committee, looks at important questions, including the following. We check whether those conducting the study are free of bias. We look at the question of whether is the study doing all it can to protect the research participants. Has the study been ethically designed and is risk-benefit ratio favorable? Now, the committee looks at all those questions to make sure that when we review the application, we give the student good feedback. Right. The next principle talks about informed consent, which is critical when doing research. Now, in short, when we talk about informed consent, it simply says, are the participants knowledgeable about the research you are doing? Because if the participants are part of your research as participants, but they don't understand your research, it means they are not informed. So basically, when we talked about informed consent, it's a question of, does the participant understand the topic being investigated? Do they understand why they are part of the research? Do they understand why they are being interviewed? So briefly, that is what we call informed consent. Right, the last part that I'm going to talk about in terms of the principles of research ethics, it talks about respect for participants. Individuals should be treated with respect from the time they are approached for possible participation in the research. Even if they refuse to be part of the research, that decision should be respected. We need to respect the privacy and confidentiality of the participants. We need to inform the participants of new information that comes through when the research is being conducted. We need to monitor their welfare. Are they okay when they are being interviewed? Is their health, are they in good health? We need to inform them about what was learned from the research. So immediately after doing the research, you need to go back to them and inform them about the findings of your research so that they know that they were part of this research. This is what we can gain from the research findings. Thank you very much, Pierre.
Thank you very much, Prof. And then what goes into the application for ethical clearance?
Okay, thank you, Pierre. Now, when the students or the researcher understands the processes, understand the principles of research ethics, when the students have read the policy on research ethics, basically before any research can take place in the College of Education, the student or the researcher must apply for ethical clearance. Now, there's a prescribed form in the College of Education that a student or a researcher must complete. The application form must be completed after reading the UNISA policy on research ethics. That's point number one. Students should request the policy link from the supervisor. If they don't have such a link, they must go to the university website and make sure that they get a copy of the research ethics policy before completing the application for research ethics. Accompanying the application for research ethics is the guidelines and examples of informed consent letters and requests for permission to conduct the study. Now, the applicant should use that guideline after reading the policy on research ethics so that the completion of the form itself should be easier.
Good afternoon, colleagues, and thank you for joining us in this webinar. This is a session where we are interacting with yourselves. I am with the team that will be engaging with you this afternoon in a discussion about your experiences within the program that you are enrolled in. And for those of you who have graduated, the program that you were enrolled in. My name is Itumeleng Setlodi. I'm the head of quality assurance and enhancement in the College of Education. We are in a process of a review, and one of the programs that are under review are the program that you are either currently enrolled in or you graduated for. So we'd like this afternoon to engage with you so that we can hear from you your experiences. And by this, we mean you let us know how you went about with whatever you were interacting with in your program and in your studies. And most importantly, we would like to have both the positives and the negatives, and also what you perhaps propose to us as we move on, so that we can be able to see how best we can improve in our practices. With me, I have Prof. van der Berg and Prof. Hicks. They will be assisting me in engaging with you so that we are able then to get more about your experiences in the program. Let me start first maybe and allow you to give us an overview impression of your experiences from when you started enrolling in the program to when you interacted with the lecturers up until the stage you are at now. And like I indicate, please let it out, constructive criticisms, proposals, suggestions are also called upon so that we can be able to improve as well. So whoever wants to go first, and maybe before I allow students to engage with us, let me first call upon my colleagues, Prof. van der Berg, if you don't mind, if you can come in and perhaps have your opening remarks. And after you, Professor Hicks, if you don't mind, please come in and have your opening remarks, and then we can take it from there. Over to you, Prof. van der Berg.
Thank you, Dr. Setlodi. Thank you for this opportunity, and welcome colleagues and everybody who's present in this meeting. Thank you for coming, and I would also like to welcome Dr. Schmidt, because she's also a lecturer in this program, the MET in ODL. And from, I think, our side, we have got Liesel, I see, and Amu. These are the two students that I see quickly that are part of the MET in ODL at the moment. So from my side, welcome to you, and please feel free to share, as Dr. Setlodi has said, what your experiences are, positive, negative, so that we can also get students' perspective on this program. And also, if you can give us some advice on improvement, that will be great. And to all the other students that I don't know, welcome, and please enjoy, and please share with us your experiences. Thank you, Doc. That's it from me.
Thank you, Prof. van der Berg. Prof. Hicks, it's your turn now.
Good afternoon, Dr. Sitlordi and Mr. Makuna. Thank you so much for arranging this afternoon. I think we're going to have a fruitful discussion. And I also want to welcome our students. Precious, it's nice to see your face. I've been speaking to you on the phone and you've got such a lovely voice, so I can see you now, your picture, because you are actually a Professor Postma's student, but welcome here and also taking part, and also Ms. Chantal Barnard. Welcome, and I hope you're going to share your experiences, and I hope Mr. Justin Tafamombi is in to share his experiences, and I think it's going to be a good experience this afternoon. Thank you very much for coming, and we're looking forward to hear your experiences and how you really feel about your journey in the Masters in Philosophy of Education.
Thank you, professors. Colleagues, I think we can start. I'm going to open the floor, and perhaps let's start with the ODL students, so that we have this session and discussion in a coordinated fashion. And as we move on, we to general experiences and discussions, you can come in as you wish. So just so that we start and we have a sort of a flow in how we'd like to have this webinar this afternoon. So I'm starting with the ODL students. If you can kindly share with us your experiences from when you started enrolling in the program, and how you found it, and where do you think we can improve. So and you know, what are the take home points that you felt these ones made you to stay in the program and do as well as you have been doing. And anyone can please jump in and comment.
Hi, it's Liesel. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. This is my second year, and I really enjoyed it, although I have to say that COVID produced a curveball that I think none of us were expecting, and I think that's had a very real impact on our studies. It has obviously nothing to do with the course itself, but it really did require us to be very careful with planning. I think we had a call as a group a little while ago, and I said, you know, I remember it being March, and then suddenly it was September, and I don't know when that happened. But if I go back to last year, and I had Prof. van Berg and Prof. Smithu's on the call as well, I really enjoyed my first year. I'm very glad in hindsight that I only took on 2 modules to begin with, because for myself, I work full time and I really needed to understand the volume of work and the amount of time that was required to read and really engage with the course content and understand what was expected of us. I thoroughly enjoyed my year 1 of study, and I was looking forward to this year to getting started. Which I thoroughly, and I've enjoyed it. I think despite everything, it's been great. It's been a very interesting learning curve for me, being able to draw on my own context, understanding similarities and differences, I think, that I share with my colleagues depending on different work environments. Some of them are in the school environment. I'm in private tertiary, which is quite a unique niche market as well. So for me, it's been very rewarding. It's been challenging, but I think the things that have been challenging have been external to the course. Both profs that I've had opportunity to engage with have been very supportive, very engaged, great feedback, really pushing us to think, sometimes rethink, go back, reevaluate, ask ourselves some questions, and come back in. And one of the things I have enjoyed, although the group is quite small, is this the opportunity to engage with in different backgrounds in terms of their work context and how this learning experience is going to be applied in their own spaces. So other than I have no life outside of work and masters at the moment. It's been a very rewarding experience.
Thank you, Liesel, for sharing your experiences. I think Amu is also in the group. Amu, if you want to, please share with us.
Thank you, Prof. Yes.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kelani. You can call me whichever suits you. But then for me to enroll for this program, the ODL program, is because of the environment that I'm in, which is I'm in the TVET sector. So we have our own unit, which we also call the open distance unit. So from the beginning, I had an idea what it was all about. It was online, but I didn't expect it to be fully engaging online. But then other than that, it's not even a problem because my environment allows me to work online, fully online. And for me personally, I like it because it allows you to engage with the system, with the LMS, whenever you have got time. And it also allows you to interact with the lecturers, and even the support that you get in your learning journey. So for me, I've taken 4 modules, which is quite complex. It demands a lot of time. It also demands a lot of engagement online. So for me, I didn't expect it to be this quite demanding, because I think I underestimated the work. But then if you are taking 2 or 2 or 3 modules, I think it's fine. But for me, it's quite demanding on my time as well. So, but other than that, I like the program. I'm fully engaged on it. I like the interaction between the student and the lecturers, even student to student. So yeah, it's quite a learning journey for me, and it's something that I will use in the future, and it's also something that is also helping in my department as we are starting off with our own open distance unit, and working even with our own student online. So it's helpful in my work experience as well. So it's bringing a lot of knowledge in on my site. Thank you.
Thank you, Amu, for sharing that. And we are glad that you are learning a lot and that you are able to apply what you are learning from the program. That is actually the aim. If you are able to apply what you are learning, it means indeed we are achieving the outcomes of the program. And that is great. Now, let us move on to the Master of Philosophy program. And like we have done with the open distance learning program, I would love to hear from you what your experiences have been like since you enrolled in the program. What form of support have you gotten from the lecturers, and if anything, what can you take away from such support, so that we first hear from you, and then we can come back and engage further. I'll start with you, Precious.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor, for having me. I'm currently registered for my master's proposal. in the philosophy of education. And I want to say, what enthused the study is the pressures and the constant reforms and, the changes in education. Since I'm studying around the principle, that's what is my main topic. It's revolving around the principle and his ethical leadership. So I question a lot. So I'm in the school environment, of course. So it made me question a lot of things regarding ethics and morals, and I feel like it's such a relevant topic to talk about, especially starting with the masters, and I'd like to take it further to PhD level as well. Yeah, the ethical leadership, and that's my focus. And when I look at articles, when I read, because I like to peruse a lot of articles and books and everything like that. So when I come to, I analyze first, I ask. I don't just come to a conclusion when a researcher has come to a finding, I will analyze it and ask, why is this certain study being investigated and all of that. So yeah, I'd like to say my journey is actually quite it's a roller coaster. As much as I'm enjoying it, the balance, I think for me, is the most challenging with regards to home life, family and, studying. It takes a lot, especially because I'm a single mother. So I have a lot of demands from me. I have to look at my child's schoolwork, especially post this lockdown. Now they've revised everything, and it's a lot of work that I have to put myself in and involve myself in. So, but it's really quite rewarding, I must say. With regards to especially the language proficiency, I must say it's expanded my knowledge. I never, as much as I'm just starting out. With the proposal, I'm still reading, still new to this, experience, but I must say, as much as it's challenging, I'm really enjoying it, and I'm hoping to write a very good thesis when it comes to my findings in the end. Thank you very much.
We're also looking forward to reading your final product, and yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Justin?
Thank you, Doc. Yes, I am currently in my third year of study for the Masters of Philosophy. In fact, I would say second year because the first one was to do with the proposal. So first year, second year, I'm in my second year now. The first year I was with Prof. Higgs, which was quite exciting, very helpful, very approachable. And I must say, I think most of the staff at UNISA are just like that. It looks like it's in their DNA. I was saying I'm currently in my second year of study for the Masters of Philosophy, which is effectively my third year because my first year was to do with the proposal. And I was saying my first year and my proposal year, I was with Prof. Higgs, and she was very much helpful in that regard. She was always approachable. Fortunately for me, I'm here in Gauteng, so in Joburg to be specific. So whenever I wanted to see her, it was just a matter of driving there. 45 minutes, I'll be there. We have a meeting. She helps me. She gives me direction. And then I would come back with my corrections, and then we move on. And then the beginning of this year, I was given another supervisor, which I must say, if you are in that process, it poses a bit of a challenge because, education by its nature, there's no single way of getting information. So one supervisor might recommend this, and yet the other supervisor might find it not the best way to do. So you have to strike a balance, and sometimes it might mean changing the whole plan altogether. But I think for me, it is rewarding because when you have divergent views, then you end up coming with something that is a bit balanced. And then 2020 happened, then we had the COVID-19 thing. unlike other students, for me, COVID-19 was actually a blessing in disguise, especially considering the nature of the studies that I was doing, because now, by the way, I'm a teacher, so schools were closed. So all I had to do was to wake up with nothing to do, leaving me to do only studying and reading. So, and my supervisor as well, because universities were closed, they were also at home, almost idling as well. So we had ample time to talk, to do corrections, and we did so much. And I think COVID-19 in that regard, I say it was quite a blessing in disguise for me, because I also have Wi-Fi at home. It's unlike some students who might be in some faraway places where they don't have access to internet. I think it was a nightmare for them, but for me, it was quite fortunate and it was quite rewarding. I am now in the process of collecting data, and my research, to be specific, I'm collecting data through interviews. So the Department of Education, when we applied for permission to carry out research in their schools, they recommended that we do it via Zoom and through internet to avoid to maintain social distancing protocols. So for me so far, when I try to do it, I see some opportunities, and I even recommend going to the future that people can try to do interviews through Zoom and other internet applications, because it sort of creates an environment where the respondent becomes free, is not intimidated by you. But it also poses challenges, because you now need to sometimes to buy data for those people. If they don't have data, then you have to buy data so that you can have online interviews with them. And sometimes, like in one of the students that I needed to interview, they indicated they didn't have a cell phone. So in that regard, I had to almost organize a cell phone for them, because I couldn't kick them out from the list of respondents that I had, on the basis that they could not afford. Otherwise, the research would now be biased towards those who have and those who don't have. So I had to give a cell phone to them, buy data for them, then I could have interviews online. So those are small challenges, but all in all, I think the process, the staff, our supervisors, they are very reachable through the button. You just WhatsApp, whatever it is. They are not hard and fast to say, I only want maybe emails, or you have to come to me on this specific time. They are very free and flexible. And sometimes you even call them at night and they pick up their calls, they assist you, and they can also call you at whatever time, and you engage. And I think for me, so far, it has been quite a happy experience, and I'm hoping that I will meet the target for this year to submit my final document. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Justin, and we wish you well. I'd like to bring in Dr. Smil. Your experiences as you were engaging with your students, Doc. Do you mind sharing?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to say something. Yes, I think teaching ODE, the ODL modules have been quite transformative for me as well. I think one of the main things is that you work with experienced and mature students who come with a lot of experience and input and knowledge. So for me, that is always a privilege to be amongst them and to learn from them as well. I think the program allows for a lot of engagement, and therefore everybody learns in the process. I think personally, I think that's the module I'm currently teaching could do with a bit of an update for 2021, considering COVID-19 and what we've learned from this experience as well. So I'd like to work some of that into the module as well. But otherwise, I've also done a bit of research on the side for a couple of years from students. And I think what students appreciate most is an engaged lecturer. A lecturer that if you WhatsApp them at 8 o'clock in the evening, they respond, or fellow students who actually ask questions about your interests and what you do. I think that is what makes the learning experience fruitful and enjoyable. So I think that is also confirmed by the students. So thank you for the students for that feedback as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doc, for that information. It's really encouraging to hear that from both the lecturers and the students, that there's this appreciation of how you go about engaging with the learning content, and most importantly, the support. Because at quality assurance level, this is what we are also interested in, to identify gaps in student support, but also in students engaging with lecturers, because sometimes, lecturers can come out prepared, doing their best, and if students are not receptive of that work that goes into preparing for them, it becomes problematic. So it is really encouraging to hear from both sides that the students appreciate the work that is put into ensuring that they are able to learn, they are able to initiate, as I've heard, Precious, Justin, and Lizelle talk about how they initiate and within the program and work towards coming up with ways that they can fuse in their learning, and that works for them. That for me is encouraging. I'd like to ask though, I understand the support is there, but in your experiences, what do you think we can improve there in terms of student support, and turnaround time perhaps of us coming back to you when you have queries? Are you happy with that? What do you think we can improve, we can do to improve, because we endeavor to continue improving in our practices? Let me call in Chantel, if you don't mind.
Good afternoon, everybody. So my experience, I'm a second year, so I'm in the first stage of doing the dissertation. So I did the proposal last year, and my supervisor has been absolutely amazing. I was at a different institution before I joined UNISA, where he was teaching, and then when I found he was moving to UNISA, I literally followed him. So because I think with the type of research I was doing, we had a very similar, and he saw my vision as far as the research, because my research involves a lot of social justice issues. And if you look at the philosophy in general, you are going to deal with issues, for example, of social justice and ethics. And, sometimes you have to tread lightly around such issues, especially considering the social and political climate that we are living in. So the experience that I had was not from the supervisor himself, but when I submitted my proposal, and the feedback that he got from how it was assessed, that feedback I would have, for example, liked to have seen myself, if that makes sense. Because there were things that were said as far as when it was assessed that I didn't personally agree with. Because, everybody can disagree, but I'd like to see where you are coming from when you are making such a statement or an allegation. Does that make sense? So I would have liked to have seen more of that feedback to understand where the assessor was coming from when making assumptions on some of the work that I had done.
Chair, if I may chip in a bit,
Yes.
Chantel talks about social justice. So me being me, I would always be attracted to that kind of research interest. So could we maybe just in a space of 1 minute, just tell us about your study, it being social justice related?
Well, social justice, how it's viewed in our current society at the moment, if you look at it politics and philosophy go very much hand in hand. So my social justice issue is focusing on learners who come from very impoverished communities. So, semantics and things like that, and political correctness, you have to tread lightly as far as how you explain and you read and research. This person is able to say it, or the words or the phrase is that way, but then I can't say it that way. But I'm basically comparing first additional language to home language. So essentially, children who are in matric, those who are going to your previous known black schools compared to your Model C schools, they learn English in a Model C school home language, but in your previously known black schools, they're doing English additional language. But when they write the grade 12 exam, they write the same biology or life science paper. So essentially, it's comparing cognitive levels within first additional language compared to home language and seeing if learning in an additional language is preparing them enough for university and preparing them with the cognitive competence in English so that these children can succeed at university level.
Chair, I think we should allow our students to also touch a bit on their studies. This is very interesting. Thank you. Back to you, Chair.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chantel.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mokoena, for chipping in there. Quite an interesting study, I must say. I would really also love to go through your end product, Chantel, because I think it can also assist us at our level to understand the diverse students that we have, and also to come up with programs that will support them so that they are not left behind, and also they feel accommodated in our offerings at UNISA. That is really interesting. Now I'm moving on to support. I'm getting deeper into support. And I would like to hear about the support in terms of resources, the library services. How do you find support in terms of you being able to self-direct your learning, in you being able to move on from one step to the other as you progress in your studies? What has your experiences been like?
Well, for me, I think where I'm lucky is that I'm with the Varsity College brand that's part of the IIE, and in my position, I have access to the library that is linked to the LMS that the organization uses, and so I have been accessing those databases, those journals, and those resources for myself, not because they aren't available elsewhere or anything like that, but it's been the easiest route for me is to use what's immediately accessible to me. So I've also made use of accessing the resources that have been presented as part of the module content in each of the lessons that we've used. I found those very helpful. I haven't necessarily been able to find all of them, but I think I found quite a few of them, and by looking at those, from one article you read, it suggests another, or it'll reference various authors, and then I would go and find those. So to sort of network your reading so that you can really engage. I think it was Precious who was saying, not just look at one viewpoint or one set of findings, but off of that, see who's challenged it, see what else is going on. And I think where I am, and I understand that I'm lucky with this, is that I having access to the IE library and all the resources. I found that support certainly there. So I'm perhaps not the right person to ask in terms of the UNISA support, I have no doubt that those resources exist, but just for myself, I suppose I chose the path of least resistance, and I used what was easily and readily available to me.
And what about you, Precious?
Okay, with regards to resources, I must say I've had easy enough access with regards to the library. I used online platforms as well a lot, which helped open other references as well for me. It led me, and then also I want to give credit to my supervisor, who's also recommended some books and articles for me to peruse on. I mean, if it wasn't for me, I actually forgot to mention him when I was introducing myself in the beginning, that he's, you know, the pillar there for me. I've been rung by rung on the ladder. He's been with me, going one step at a time. So, but I'm really happy with that. But I'm not just gonna rely on him for, you know, to help me with the resources. And as well, the library has been closed as well during the lockdown. So it was very hard to also access some materials that I needed. But I've went to bookstores as well. Some books I've had to order, I think they've had to order for me that come from overseas as well, because not a lot of people, I asked myself, why aren't people getting deeper into ethics anymore? What happened to ethical, you know, behavior and all of that being researched? Because it's very, I've noticed that my topic has very limited data. It's really hard to access, and you can't just go into any journal nowadays. We never know if, you know, the articles, they are for real, or, you know, are they approved and are they official, you know? So yeah, with the articles, I must say it hasn't been so much difficult, but in the past few months before the lockdown, it has been. And that's when it was very crucial for me, because I'm new to this experience, you know, the masters, the proposal, what is required of me. But luckily, like I said, I have a great Professor Posma, actually, who's been guiding me. He responds every time I want to ask questions. He's there to respond. It doesn't even take a day. And I'm surrounded by also a lot of some PhD students, you know, some master students as well. They say that it's hard for them to get access to their supervisor. You know, they will take a month to respond to just a simple, you know, question to them. So I'm very grateful for this supervisor that I've have, and I'm hoping to work further with him on my research studies, even after finishing the dissertation after my second year of study. So thank you.
Thank you, Precious. What about you, Amikelani?
With me, in terms of support and resources which are available, I find all the modules that I'm currently registered for in the ODR quite supportive in terms of providing you with resources, even links that are available. So in terms of resources, I think I can give, I really appreciate what the lecturers are doing with this ODR, especially when it comes to the resources and the recommended articles. They put it out there for you to go and read. So it's, for me, it's available. I haven't had any difficulty to access any resource, even the work on the amount of content that they put online. It also guides you in which way, where to go, how to engage with the articles, which are the most important things there, things that you need to take home and do with your studies, especially when you are also preparing for your portfolios and your other assessments as well. So I really say thank you to Prof. Van Berg for the work that is put online, and also to Dr. Louise, the amount of engagement. They always engage with us, and especially when it comes to our discussion, they always come back to us to ask more questions, to engage with us. So it's quite I like the way it is, because it gives you it makes you want to learn more and engage and find out and research. So this ODR program is a take home for someone who would want to go into that route. It's something that I would even advise someone to go into it. It's fully engaging. So I don't have any problems so far. I can say the only issue for me from my side, it can be time, because I don't have enough time. But other than that, from my side, I'm trying to manage what I can manage. And in terms of the support that we get and the feedback, they always give the feedback, and the feedback is timely. So which is also important for us as students to be able to get our feedback on assessment and on discussion. So even the time that is put in there. But the other thing that I think maybe we also have also have to look on is the time that we are given to do our discussion. Maybe if they can extend that on our side and engage more with us, because for someone who's doing three modules, to be able to engage in that and navigate around between the three modules, it's quite difficult. And for me, I have to switch on between context and say today I'm doing this, and then I'll come back to technology, I'll come back to management. It's quite demanding, but I think the extension of the time required to do the engagement online, if they can look at the time frame of that, especially considering that people will come in and want to do with the coursework, we want to take the 4 modules at the same time, so that next day you concentrate on your dissertation. So I think that also it needs to be looked at as well. Thank you.
Sorry, and if I could just say one thing, and I should have mentioned it when it was my turn, but the two facilitate 2 profs that I've been engaged with last year and this year, I just want to say thank you very much. The feedback was always very quick. We have had WhatsApp groups in both sessions. The ink wasn't dry before you got a response, even if it was just to say, I've read it and I'll come back to you when I have time. So you didn't feel that you were out there on your own. Emails are answered very quickly, and just to put you in the right direction. And again, even if that email just says, I've heard you and things are a bit crazy at the moment, but I know you're there and I'll get back to you. Even that kind of support is really meaningful. And just talking about the kinds of things that you learn through doing a course like this, it's not just the theory. Something that I can take back with me into my work context is also, and something that I always reinforce with the online tutors that work for us, is get back to someone, let someone know that if they've asked a question, you've heard them. And even if you can't answer them straight away, just acknowledge that message, acknowledge the email or the WhatsApp, and don't leave people hanging. So I just want to thank both of them that I've dealt with over the last 2 years, that you never left us hanging, and that was hugely appreciative, especially in my first year when things were a bit scary and you didn't know what to expect. It was very reassuring to know that when we reached out, that someone heard you and that someone would get back to you, and they always did. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Dr. Mokoena Amu. If you can kindly get something where you can rest your device so that it's not moving when you speak. Justin, I think I'm going to give you a 10 to say something about resources and support, library support.
Thank you, Doc. Yes, for me, I think the support is above what we can expect. I did my first year program, I mean my undergraduate degree some years back. And trust me, those students who are now studying today, they don't know what it was to study maybe 10 years ago. Today, everything is there on the internet and it's so easy. So I think with the support that we are getting, sometimes you even think that it is now tantamount to spoon feeding. And as one studies master's to PhD, I think the college must allow students to start to do things on their own. If you say, I am now able to swim, then you must be able to go into the deep end, not on the shallow end and say I'm swimming. Because sometimes my supervisors have been very, very supportive, and to the extent that sometimes you get an email with a list of resources that you can use, which is something that we never used to do back then. And I would think it's maybe I'm too much of an old school type of student, but I think the support we are getting, I can't even complain. You go even to the librarian, by just emailing the librarian, I want this, she sends you a whole list of resources that you need. You now have programs. If you want to do references, you don't even know how the Harvard system works. It just guides you through. So sometimes you don't even think things are now done by the system. So I think the support for me at the moment, I can't say it is not enough. It is way above possibly our expectations. The lecturers as well, like I said before, 8 p.m. you give them a text or a call. Are you free? They are always ready to talk to you. They even treat you like a relative or somebody who is close to them. That's the kind of support that we get. So you even share personals. And so for me, I must say the support is phenomenal. I can't falter anything. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the feedback. It's really encouraging to hear that we as an institution are doing our best, and that you are happy with the service that we provide. I think that is important, and our office really is looking at that, looking at how we can improve and keep on improving as an institution, so that you feel that you are carried along as you study. We understand that at this level, really you are supposed to be independent and looking for sources and so on. And it's encouraging to hear that lecturers go an extra mile in assisting and supporting you, in realizing that you are also having competing priorities, work issues. You also are parents, you are also daughters and sons of people, and you have all these competing priorities, and for them to then come in and support you is really great. And I must applaud Prof. van der Berg, Prof. Hicks, and all other lecturers, Dr. Smith. I see she's gone, but really convey our gratitude to colleagues in your respective departments for the sterling work that they are doing. That we are hearing from the students, that they are happy with the support, and even Justin mentioning that he feels like he's being spoon-fed, it means that we are really doing what we are supposed to do. And for me, that is really a cherry on top, knowing that we go an extra mile in ensuring that our students are supported as well as they are supported.